So with the Kenobi series showing us the life of a Jedi on the run from the Galactic Empire during the reign of that government, I figured it would be a good time to take a closer look at how exactly the Empire hunts down the remaining Jedi. What tools did the Empire use to try to exterminate what was left of the Jedi Order? I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So while many of the ways that the Empire hunted down the Jedi may be pretty self-explanatory or pretty familiar to a lot of you, I figured today we could take a closer look at them as a whole. Exactly what elements is the Empire going to use to try to catch Kenobi as well as any other surviving Jedi? Let's start with one of the most obvious ones, the Imperial Military. Now, the Imperial Military was absolutely massive. It fielded, for example, 25,000 Imperial-class Star Destroyers. So, just judging by the size of its navy, the scale of the Imperial military is vast. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that that military was deployed in great force against any remaining Jedi, especially if a Jedi had already been located. It makes sense to send a ridiculous number of stormtroopers in to sort of clear the area out and attempt to capture the Jedi. And after all, when it really comes down to it, one Jedi, while they are a very capable force on the battlefield, is likely not going to be able to stand up against 20, 30, 40 stormtroopers if they're sent at them. But beyond stormtroopers, the Imperial military can bring a lot of heavier military equipment to bear on any Jedi or Jedi sympathizers. This includes a lot of their smaller military vehicles, things like AT-STs and other tank-like vehicles. So the standard Imperial military forces were a fairly good option for dealing with rogue Jedi, but they weren't the only one. Other elements of the Imperial military were specifically designed to hunt Jedi. Things like the Purge Troopers from Legends, entire regiments within the Imperial military organized for the specific purpose of hunting down surviving Jedi. These soldiers would likely be specifically trained in engaging enemies that were proficient in use of a lightsaber or maybe even the Force. So you layer that on top of the standard Imperial military, which can simply overwhelm an adversary with numbers, and you have a very potent fighting force, but the Empire still had more tools beyond that. Let's talk about bounty hunters. Bounty hunters were an awesome tool for the Empire to use. You see, if the Empire even got a whiff that a Jedi had survived the events of Revenge of the Sith and Order 66, they could put a large bounty out on that Jedi's head. Then if any bounty hunter happened to come across this Jedi, well, operating out in the vast expanses of the galaxy, they would be motivated to bring this Jedi in, dead or alive. We see this quite a bit, and it might actually be one of the Empire's favorite tactics for dealing with the Jedi, because the Empire really doesn't have to do much in this case except for pay someone else to handle their problem for them. And the last element intended to hunt down the Jedi, the last tool that the Empire has at their disposal for this very specific purpose, is the Imperial Inquisition. Now, this is the thing that a lot of us are probably familiar with. The Imperial Inquisition is built from the ground up, following the rise of the Empire, specifically to hunt down surviving Jedi. It is a group of Force users trained in some elements of the dark side of the Force and well-trained to use lightsabers. They are all directly under the command of Darth Vader himself. Now, I think it's interesting to note that a lot of the Inquisitors actually were Jedi at one point. A lot of them were students during the time of the Clone Wars, and when the Empire rose to power, they were given the option to die or sign up, and they chose to sign up. Others were motivated by their own personal goals and gripes with the Jedi Order to join up to hunt the surviving Jedi. For a Jedi on the run from the Galactic Empire, the Inquisition ultimately represents the ultimate threat, an organized adversary actively hunting them down with the resources of the Galactic Government behind their backs. You see, while a large number of stormtroopers can certainly overwhelm a Jedi in hiding, a few stormtroopers here or there are no match for a well-trained swordsman. However, a single Inquisitor can easily overwhelm really any Jedi that hadn't used their lightsaber in quite some time. But with Kenobi now out and episodes coming out every Wednesday, I'm sure we'll see a lot more of the tools the Empire uses to hunt Jedi in the coming weeks. I think it's actually kind of a fascinating side of Star Wars to get to see this sort of outlaw culture forming within the Jedi Order, or what's left of the Jedi Order. But ultimately, the thing that really hit the Jedi hard was Order 66 and the betrayal by the clone troopers, and one of the most impactful moments within that was Operation Nightfall, the storming of the Jedi Temple. And if you'd like to learn more about Operation Nightfall, I'll leave a link up here to my video on that. And I'd like you to let me know down below in the comments which of these tools do you think is really the most effective. Is it the small number of Inquisitors who can easily overwhelm a Jedi in one-on-one combat, or is it the vast number of Imperial stormtroopers and bounty hunters that can really just be in every nook and cranny of the galaxy? And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Star Wars, leave it down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.